Well, I want to thank you for coming along with me today. I am going to be talking about bridge cameras. I have 3 cameras that I use: a Nikon, a GoPro, and a bridge camera. Now, bridge cameras, they're made by a lot of different companies, from Lumix, this is the one that I use, from Panasonic. You have Canon, Kodak, Sony, and Nikon. Nikon's a pretty good one too. I've heard some good things about that one. And one of the reasons I chose a bridge camera, and I'll explain a little bit more about what they are, because about 6 years ago I was looking for a camera that was a little bit lighter to carry, something that had a zoom lens on it for maybe short hikes or just some walks that I wanted to do where I didn't want to carry all the lenses with. The best bridge camera combines the portability and the convenience of a compact camera with the zoom of a telephoto lens and the ergonomics of a DSLR. Bridge cameras look and feel pretty much similar to a DSLR, but with a fixed lens and usually a massive zoom range, sometimes up to 1200 millimeters. Now my camera, it'll go up to 1600 millimeters. But the one thing about bridge cameras, their photos kind of get not quite so clear once you pass the minimum focal range. Like mine is 25 to 400 millimeters. But I can shoot farther, but you best to use a tripod because the quality is not quite so good, and that's pretty much with all bridge cameras. Now, I've had my camera quite a while and I've dropped it a few times, so it's been beaten up, but boy, it keeps working. I haven't had any issues with it. So I'm going to show you a bunch of photos that I've taken with this camera. I'm going to show photos first, and I did not use a tripod for any of these so that you can see the stabilization of this particular camera. This camera here, the Lumix, it's a 20 megapixel camera. It weighs a little over a pound, so it's very light. A 5-axis stabilization. And if you want to video slow motion, it's 120 frames per second. So on all these photos and the video, I did not use a tripod. That way you can see how well it handles. So let's take a look at the photos coming up now. So overall, this camera does very well. I've used it quite a bit. As you can see in the videos, I'm just walking along a path and holding the camera. It catches up with its focus fairly quickly. So if you are looking for a setup that means you never have to leave the house with more than one bag, then a bridge camera is a great choice. The fixed lens will often cover a huge focal range, but you're not going to be able to do much specialist photography with this camera. The sensors on a bridge camera are normally smaller than the sensors in some of the best DSLRs and the best mirrorless cameras. This means that they're not as high resolution. They usually have less dynamic range, and they don't perform as well in low light. That is the main fault I think that pretty much all the bridge cameras have. Even the newer models like that Nikon Coolpix, it only has 1 2/3 sensor, 1 2/3 inch sensor. But despite the drawbacks and limitations from this, bridge cameras are still incredibly useful. For the price, you do get a lot for your money. Alright, to finish this video off, I'm going to show you some slow motion that I took with this camera, some of my favorite bird photos, and a short time lapse at the end. So as always, I want to thank you for coming along and hope to see you next time on Adventures Outdoors.